This video is called Unit Analysis. I think sometimes it can be called Dimensional Analysis. It's one of those actually pretty handy math skills. It got me through chemistry when I was in college, maybe even in high school. I didn't think I could do it. Any of the, all the like, do I divide by the moles? Do I multiply by grams per mole or moles per gram? Dimensional analysis helped me out a lot. So I'm going to show you how, if you kind of apply some logical steps, you can really get an answer pretty quickly. Let's just say that there's a snail crawling around, and the snail goes 4 inches, we'll say per minute. I don't know how fast they really go. And let's say that you need to figure out how many feet per day that is. Feet per day. So what we're going to do is we're going to just start with the information they gave us, and we're going to set it up as a fraction. There's a couple reasons why we do the fraction, partly because the word per means fraction, and it's also 4 inches per 1 minute. People don't talk that way, but that's exactly what it means. So the 1 minute goes in the basement of the fraction. The other reason why we're using fractions is because we're going to cancel out. If you remember, if you had like 10 over 3 and you were multiplying it by 3 over 80, that's supposed to be an 8. These 3's will cancel out. They reduce down to 1 is kind of what happens. So we're going to use that process where anything on the top can cancel with anything on the bottom. And in this case, it's kind of unmathy. We're not worried about the numbers till the end. We're worried about canceling out units. So let's look at what we have here. We have inches that need to go to feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a fraction that has the conversion of inches to feet. So since inches is on the top of our fraction, we're going to have to put it in the bottom so that it will cancel. And the feet will now go on the top, because I'm just going to write in the conversion for feet to inches or inches to feet, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Now I'm going to look at time. We have minutes, which is going to days. I have no idea how many minutes are in a day. I'm sure I could probably Google it, but let's say I don't have any internet and I can't Google it. I'm going to go from minutes to hours and hours to days. So my minutes is on the bottom of our fraction, of our first fraction, so in order for it to cancel, it has to go on the top of my next fraction. And I said I'm going to go minutes to hours, so that means that hours is going to be on the top, or on the bottom rather. And then my last fraction is going to convert hours to days. Since hours is on the bottom of this fraction, I need it to go on the top of this next fraction, and days will be at the bottom. So let's just check our units. Inches is going to cancel with inches. Minutes is going to cancel with minutes, and hours will cancel with hours. I haven't done any math yet. I'm just trying to think in my head what's the best way to get these things to cross off. If minutes is in the bottom, to get it to cancel, it now has to go on the top. That's all. Now I'm ready to do some numbers. When I look at this first fraction here that we wrote, how many feet are in an inch? Don't know, but I do know that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So that's how I'm going to put those numbers. 12 goes in front of the inches, 1 goes in front of the feet. For minutes and hours, I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then for hours to days, I know that there are 24 hours in 1 day. Alright, so all I did so far is just set everything up. And I'm just going to have my calculator do everything else, do everything else for me. So I'm going to multiply all of the top numbers. I'm just grabbing my calculator. So I have 4 on the top, times 1, which I'm not going to type in, times 60, times 24, and I hit equal, so the number that I'm going to get on the top, I'm multiplying all those numbers together, is 5,760. Now I'm going to multiply all the numbers on the bottom, which is 1 times 12 times 1 times 1, which just comes out to 12. The last step that I need to do is to actually divide these out. What is 5760 divided by 12? That's going to give me 480. And I've canceled out all my units. The only thing I have left over for units on the top is feet. The only thing I have left over in the bottom for units is days, and luckily that is exactly what they wanted us to find for them. So it was a couple step process. Write out the initial fraction and then figure out what units you need to cancel with what units and where the units go, and then plug your numbers in and then let your calculator do all the work. Alright, let's try another one here. So if we have that, I'm going to scroll up. Oops, scram. And now let's say that this time we have a tank, and we'll say that it's emptying. It's got like some kind of a leak in it, and it's emptying, and we know that it's emptying out at 3 quarts per every 20 minutes. Alright, maybe it's a leak we're worried about, maybe it's a leak we want to have happen, we're not really sure. And somebody wants to know how many gallons. Boy, I wish I could write a little bit better. Takes practice, I guess, huh? Okay. We want to know how many gallons we'll say per hour. All right. Again, the initial information that they give us, we're going to put in a fraction. So it's 3 quarts on the top of the fraction every 20 minutes. And again, the fractions that I'm writing are units that are the same. So I'm not going to try to set up a fraction that does quarts to hours, because there's no conversion. There's no way to measure how many quarts are in an hour, how many hours are in a quart. So I'm just going to pick quarts first, and I'm going to worry about that. And I do know that quarts has to go in the bottom because it's originally in the top. So that means since I can go from quarts to gallons, my unit of gallon has to be in the top. All right. My next fraction, I'm going to deal with minutes. I have 20 minutes on the bottom. So to get minutes to cancel out, minutes, the word minutes has to be on the top. And that means that hours has to be in the bottom. All right, let's double check that things will cancel. I have quarts canceling with quarts, minutes canceling with minutes. It leaves me gallons over hours. That's perfect. So let's continue and put the numbers in. How many quarts are in a gallon? There, I looked it up earlier. There's 4 quarts in 1 gallon. How many minutes are in an hour? 60 minutes for 1 hour. Now we're going to multiply all of our top numbers. 3 times 1 is 3, times 60, that's 180. 20 times 4 is 80, times 1 is still 80. Now if I grab my handy dandy calculator and I do 180 divided by 80, I'm going to get that it's about 2.25 gallons per hour. Again, it's just lining up the fractions, making sure the units cancel, and then just going from there and doing the math, which is all just fractions. So, all right, let's try one more. Let's say this time, let's say that you're a jeweler and you have gold dust and you do some gold dusting on some of the jewelry that you make. And let's say that you use 4 grams of gold dust every single day as you make jewelry. Gold is really expensive, so you might wonder, gee, how many pounds of gold is that a year? How much am I spending on that? So we want to know how many pounds per year. And I'm going to set it up exactly the same way that I've done the previous 2 problems. I'm going to have 4 grams over 1 day. And then I'm going to multiply that by my next fraction. We'll do time this time first. So I have day here. So I'm going to make days on the top to make sure they cancel out. And the year is going to have to go on the bottom. So that should take care of the time. And then for grams, I had to look this up as well. I need grams on the bottom. I don't know if I have grams per pound. Let's see, grams per pound, yes. Usually pound is LB, so that's what I'm going to put. So here we go. Let's double check our units. We have grams canceling with grams. We have day canceling with day. We have pounds on top, year on the bottom. That's what they wanted. Now let's worry about the numbers. I know that you can split hairs with me on this, but I'm going to say 365 days per year, per 1 year. For pounds and ounces, I looked this up. Every 1 pound has 453 grams. 0.6 technically. Alright, so again, we have all the units lined up. We put all of our numbers in. Now we just need to grab our calculators, and we need to do 4 times 365 times 1, which is 1460 on the top. On the bottom, 1 times 1 times 453.6 is that magical number. And then we just divide them out. Again, a fraction bar, I don't know if I said that earlier, it just means to divide. So 1460 divided by 453.6, and we will get, so that's not a huge amount of, well, I don't pay for gold myself, so I don't know. But throughout the whole year, I'm sure a jeweler is raking in the dough, but they're doing 3.2 pounds a year for whatever they're putting on their jewelry, and I'm sure they're making it back, because I'm sure that's a nice way to earn money. So, alright, I hope that this helped.